Hey everybody, Russ here. Thanks for connecting today, and if you like what you see, please share.
I'll just say that I grew up in Northern Virginia, born in Indiana, and my mom is actually from Peru, so I'm first generation American, and so my mom was always big on pushing education. So scared her a little bit because I joined the Marines, made a career out of it, and about retired about 11 years ago as a lieutenant colonel.
Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie. Today's episode brought to you by Burlee's Fancies. Fancy this, fancy that. Burlee's Fancies, designed to impress. And Hanson Insurance Group. For all your commercial and personal insurance needs, call Hanson Insurance Group today. Hey everybody, Russ Hedge here again with Marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie. Another episode today with an outstanding guest. You know, we interview amazing people who connect, and today a new friend of mine that is an amazing connector. He has a business called Fusion Marketing. He has come out of the military and has great background there he's going to talk about. And he lives down in the Atlanta, Georgia area and is currently getting ready to bunker down if the hurricane heads his way, which we hope it doesn't. That's not laughable. But we were talking about natural disasters before we got on, hurricanes and fires. So anyway, but we're just going to have fun today and talk. But I wanted to remind you that I am Russ Hedge, coach and motivational speaker. I am all about connecting. I love to connect, and Jim will attest to that. And you guys can connect with me by going to russhedge.com. You'll have all of my links, my social media, my email, everything you need to know about me and get in touch with me is there. russhedge.com is the place, and I would love to connect and get to know you. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right over to Jim and welcome him today. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Russ, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
You are so welcome. You know, I was so excited. You are one of the guys that I've got to be honest, I love to talk to, and I get so excited every time we get a chance to just chat because you're just a fun guy. And you have a podcast, which we'll talk more about, but just your personality comes out so much because you guys have so much fun. So I love to watch that. Anyway, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself. So take it away.
Yeah, so I'll just say that I grew up in Northern Virginia, born in Indiana, and my mom is actually from Peru, so I'm first generation American, and so my mom was always big on pushing education. So scared her a little bit because I joined the Marines, made a career out of it, and about retired about 11 years ago as a lieutenant colonel. Went from private to lieutenant colonel, and I said, well, what am I going to do next? So I started out. I was doing government contract consulting, and you're probably saying, what does that have to do with marketing? Well, that's when I found out that I'd go to these conferences and people was like, oh, I'm helping people with their social media. Well, I've always been a geek at heart. I started to analyze what these people did. I said, I think I can do that. I was a business major. And so 4 years ago, I started Fusion Marketing, and I started out, being a social media manager for some small businesses that were in one of my BNI groups, talk about connecting. And it's just grown from there where now it's what I do full time. I've been doing it full time for 4 years, but have shifted into doing live streaming, podcasting, remote live production, and even this weekend doing a virtual event for a local chamber.
That is so amazing. There's a lot of people doing that, local groups in our area. And I know a good mutual friend, Scott, is working on virtual events as well. And it's really kind of fun. You know, the one thing I got to tell you I love about having my own business is you get to do what you love to do, what you enjoy to do. And if you think to yourself, hey, this is something I'd like to try, you get to try it.
That's right. I mean, yeah, because what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work, and you just move on to the next thing. And I think, to me, if anything, over these last few months, right? Because let alone we have fires and hurricanes with everything else that's going on in the world
Yeah.
today. You really have to shift, and I think that to me has been the big thing. Is that I think my past has unexpectedly prepared me for where I am today.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you talk about your time in the Marine Corps, it was talking about adapt and overcome. And I saw that on your information. I was thinking that is exactly what we're doing now. We're adapting and overcoming. Talk more about how your time in the Marines really drove you into where you are today.
Yeah, so as most people remember, I mean, some of our younger viewers won't. When 9/11 happened, I think we were all shocked, and it really put things in a different perspective in the military. It's like, okay, got to defend our country and all those poor people that perished on 9/11. And so, I volunteered to deploy, did that a couple times. And so part of that as well was we were having to basically figure things out as we were going along. What that led to me later was I'm actually one of the founding fathers or plank holders, as we call it in the military, of the Marine Corps Special Operations Command. I was the guy in charge of all the money. So I had no playbook. I had no, here's how you do things. It just based on my experience, I was like, I knew what we had to do. And we just did it, right? And if it didn't work, we went on to the next thing. And so I think that experience of standing up a new organization from scratch tied in very well with what I do now as a marketer, because when I look at a business, it's kind of like, okay, well, what are you doing well? What do you need to adjust? And I think a lot of times what we see is that these business owners get in their own way because it's that resistance to change. It's that not wanting to adapt and overcome. And for me, it was always in the military, it was about making a decision. You know, even if it's a bad decision, it's better to make a decision than to not make one at all, because in a sense you really are. So I think my experience, it's like I tell you like it is, because that's how my bosses were. They didn't like people that just said yes. They wanted someone that would challenge conventional thinking. And I think as marketers, we have to challenge that conventional thinking, especially even more so now with the speed of technology, with things constantly changing and buying habits. And, used to be, right, if I wanted to find out about a company, it was very hard to do. Now people are researching you before they've even, you know, hit that email, or, it maybe once in a while they actually make a phone call. Uh, it's a different world than just 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that that is so true. And people that are not adapting and overcoming are just, dwindling on the vine. Right now, there's people that are just doing fabulous things during COVID, during fires, during hurricanes, whatever we have going on, because they're actually moving forward and they're adapting and they're finding out, what do people really need? How can I really help people? And I think when you have a genuine, authentic want to help people and to find what you can do there, which I know you're that way, that you definitely make things happen. You do adapt, you do adjust. And I just think that is so important today, because you're right. I mean, there is, and not only on top of that, the technology allows you so much flexibility, just like you spoke about, that you can do so many things. You just have to be willing to figure a few things out on your own and move forward. And what I like especially is the fact that when you're doing it, you can have fun doing it too. So I was going to start today off and have you do the little dance that you and Tim did a while back on your show. There you go. Yeah, that's it. I love that.
That's the Tim, right?
Is that the Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being on that show. But anyway, no, I just really, what I love is I see your passion. I see where you're coming from. A lot of people think military people are stiff and really don't have any fun. And you show that you can actually have fun, still be disciplined, still accomplish things, right? In spite of having a good time.
Well, and I'll tell you, it was a challenge for me for a long time, and I actually worked with a coach, and which is something I highly recommend people do. Coaches are so important to you as a business owner and progressing, that it was kind of like I wanted to fight that past, right? Like, oh, I'm a retired Marine. People don't want to hear about that, but the more I talked to people, they said, no, you should embrace that. People will actually like that fact that they're getting to work with someone that. And I think, back in the days when we were, as a young second lieutenant, when they tell you there's only 2,000 U.S. men and women that become a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps every year out of a population over 330 million people. When you look at those percentages, like, wow, maybe I am special.
Well, I would agree that that's true. And yeah, I think we all need to embrace what we bring to the table because that's what people really want to hear about. So speaking of bringing it to the table, let's slide into fusion marketing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I do marketing the Marine Corps way, and people say, "Well, what does that mean?" Well, we're surgical, we're precise, and we're tactical, and we basically take this. I call it. It's the way we wrote orders in the military, the 5 paragraph order system. We look at what's the situation that your business is in, what is the mission that you want to accomplish, how are we going to execute that, meaning, and then what are the admin and logistics, what are the resources we need to do that, and then the command and control, how are we going to kind of have that loop of continuous improvement to keep you moving along. And so that's what I do when I bring that in, so I can very quickly analyze the problem and come up with solutions. And then it's just really a matter of whether or not my services are within that company's budget. And I think another important thing for people to remember is, I know my style's not for everyone, just like yours isn't as well. And that's okay, right? We're not everybody's going to love us. And, that's okay. I mean, you've never
Not
had,
everybody loves us. That's a
right,
tough
right.
one.
Yeah, I know my ex-wife, right? She doesn't love me. Um, but that's just how you have to be prepared for those things, and I think if you can keep that in mind as well, it's going to help you. But I focus, especially lately, I've been doing remote live stream production for some organizations where I'm behind the scenes doing virtual events, like I said, but I also do digital marketing consulting because I am very comfortable with several of the platforms. I do provide classes as well. In fact, I'm actually a brand ambassador for a company out of Spain called Metrocool, and I'm doing a webinar next week on their Instagram linking tool, which I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. You need to send me a link to that. So this is what I love what you said. I have met so many people coaching, consulting, doing things similar to what I'm doing, but it's similar, but it's all different. Everybody has their own flavor. Everybody brings their own thing to the table. And what I love is it's a community where people want to support and help each other within that coaching community, because you know what? There's so many people that need services of certain types of people. And I just think that's outstanding. So I got to tell you, we could keep talking forever, but we're already winding up. And I really want to encourage everybody, if you have not gotten contact with Jim, you need to do that. And it's Jim Fuhs, right? Did I
Yes.
pronounce the last name right?
Yes. Yep.
Fuhs.
Right.
There you go. I spelled it right too.
You did.
And so we're going to link to all of his contact information. But Jim, tell us the best ways to get in touch with you.
The best ways really I'd say are my 2 favorite platforms. LinkedIn, you can follow me, Jim Fuhs, just like it's spelled. And then also Twitter, I'm Fusion Marketing, FUHSION MKTG. I would tell you my website, but it's been a little bit, me and GoDaddy are having some issues, so don't go there right now. And but I'm pretty much on all the socials, but I like to spend most of my time on LinkedIn and Twitter. And of course, we've been doing a lot of time on Zoom over these last few months, and I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon either.
No, I don't think so. In fact, initially, obviously, Jim and I met on Zoom. There is a global tea break that if you people have not heard about and have not been involved with, you should be, because you can link with people all over the world. Has been fantastic. So instead of having to fly all over the place, we can just fly via Zoom. It's wonderful.
Yes. But I would like to go visit a couple of these people. They're in some nice places.
Oh, absolutely. I think once the restrictions loosen up, we're going to be flying all over the place. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jim, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. We're definitely have become friends and are going to stay in touch. And I totally support all that you're doing. I absolutely want to get a link to that webinar next week, and praying for you and hope that everything goes fabulous and the hurricane swoops around you guys and doesn't actually hit you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. And
welcome.
thanks for having me, Russ. This has been great.
You bet. You bet. Well, listen, everybody, thank you so much for listening. And, we always want to bring you amazing people that connect. And today we've definitely done that. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my YouTube page or check out my Facebook or LinkedIn. You can see the video casts on there, and the podcast is always available on most podcast platforms as well, in audio version. So with that, have an awesome day. It's great to see everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Russ out.